What is up, gamers? Staxwell is back at it again today with another market watch. The Yarl Armory deck has been announced and the market is going absolutely crazy. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just go ahead, jump straight into it here. First card I want to talk about is Pulse of Eisenloth, a natural inclusion in Yarl. Seems very good. Cheapest copy on the market is about $5 shipped. Cheapest cold foil on the market is $41 shipped. Kind of crazy, but yeah, this card seems totally insane. Being able to fuse it with Oakenold, it's a non-embarrassing earth card to play and get in your graveyard to be able to turn on your decomposes. Seems like a very good card. Moving on, Stalagmite, cheapest copy on the market is like $40. This card was like $18 before the deck got announced, and then this card immediately shot up to $70 and slowly trickled back down to where it is now. There's not much more room for it to go down. You guys know I'm normally the first one to tell you, let the card cool off, let it come back to reality. But I think it kind of has. Like, if it started at 18 and no hero could play it, and now what is supposed to be one of the pillars of the format is coming out and, you know, potentially playing Stalagmite, and it's $40. Like, how much wiggle room is left? You know what I mean? Like, what could it realistically go to? 25, 30, maybe? If I didn't have one, I would definitely pick one up for this price tag. I don't think it's bad. I remember when Oldham was a good hero, the best hero, and a lot of people were playing him. It was right around this price tag. So I don't think it could go much lower than this. I will caveat that with saying that the hero could have a two-handed weapon that's just like pushed or cracked, in which case he couldn't play Stalagmite. But I think that's kind of far-fetched. I think he would at least sideboard Stalagmite. It's just such a powerful card, right? Either way, cheapest copy on the market, $40. I actually think it's a good price. Next card I want to talk about is Heart of Ice. Cheapest cold foil Heart of Ice on the market is $60, and the cheapest rainbow foil is $52. I think this card is obviously just better than No Rune Robe, right? I'm not going to say it's a bad card at all, but it's really only like busted versus Kano. I understand the once per turn action could get some value in other matchups that would play a lot of D-reacts or instants and also deal arcane damage. But really think about those matchups and then ask yourself, like, are you really getting more value out of Heart of Ice than you would Tunic? Tunic is so good in Guardians, right? Being able to CNC Pummel or pitch a blue, pay Tunic to Mangle, right? We know the new hero is going to play Mangle. It just seems... It seems like a card you would want for Kano, don't get me wrong, but if you're looking into Yarl, it would be the absolute last card I pick up for the deck. This one is definitely not necessary and might not even make the cut, I guess, kind of just depending on the popularity of Kano. But yeah, cheapest copy on the market, $52. I think this one probably will come down a little bit. I would wait for this one to cool off. Cheapest cold foil, like I said, $60. Next card I want to talk about is Cornet Peak. Cheapest Cornet Peak on the market is $50 for the cold foil and $25 for the rainbow foil. I think they're actually, like, first glance, it's like, yeah, Guardian's never going to play Cornet Peak. This is just a bad spec, bad investment. And, you know, that was my first reaction as well. But the more I think about this hero, all the art of Yarl does show him holding like this two-handed battle axe scythe kind of thing. And there's been a lot of hype on his weapon, I guess I'm getting at. And if it's a two-handed weapon, it could cost 3. And if it costs 3, you're never playing Cornet Peak. But if it costs more than 3, if it costs 4 or 5 or something like that, there's a world where you're trying to hold 2 cards to swing the weapon every turn. And if you're forced into blocking with 3 cards and you're forced to be left with 1 card, you at least have something to do with it. You could pitch it into Cornet Peak. So there is a world where Cornet Peak could be played. I do think it's probably not likely, though. It's more likely that he's not going to play Cornet Peak than he is, right? But either way, I still think it's like relatively cheap, right? $25 isn't crazy. I would hold off on the cold foil. I think that will come down quite a bit as we get closer to the deck. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Cornet Peak. Oakenold definitely going to be in the deck. This is probably the best card in the deck. His new specialization is also an Earth Ice card. So fusing this card is easier than it's ever been. You have 4 double fused targets. So yeah, this is just going to be free pretty much. You won't have to do like crazy pitch stacks or anything to set it up. I do recommend getting the rainbow foil though, because I kind of think that this is going to get reprinted in the Yarl Armory deck. And if it does, I actually I don't know why I feel like this, but I think it's going to have an alternate art, because this art is just so Oldhim focused. And then if they give it a different art, they could finally put an end to the Oakenold is supposed to be an Oldhim specialization talk, so yeah, I think it's a fantastic pickup. If you don't have it, I highly recommend the cold foil though. It's only like $1, $2 more. Not the cold foil, the rainbow foil. It's only like $1, $2 more, and obviously it's protected from a reprint, right? Felling of the Crown, cheapest copy on the market is like $30 now. Prior to this deck, it was like $20, $25. Same with Plow Under, it's like $20, $25. As soon as this deck got announced, they both shot up quite a bit. The worst thing about Felling of the Crown and Plow Under, obviously they're just great cards. The one downside though is there's not a lot of good Earth cards. So that's why you'll see Florian decks now playing like yellow and red Autumn's Touch, which kind of suck, right? They just play them because they're blue. Because they block 3. This deck has less of that problem because the new specialization, that's Earth Ice, is Earth, right? So you have a little bit more Earth cards, and you don't have to play as bad of cards like yellow Autumn's Touch. You also have the Pulse of Eisenloth, right? There's a couple of Earth cards that Guardian has access to, specifically Elemental Guardian has access to, that the other Earth heroes don't have access to. So it's like a little bit better in these decks than it is the other decks. Granted, it doesn't turn on like an additional hero power or anything, but I don't think that you're casting Plow Under to build towards your Verdant's hero power, right? Plow Under and Felling of the Crown are the payoff, right? They're the payoff to playing Earths. Banishing isn't any kind of payoff. Yeah, I don't think so. Next card I want to talk about is Buckle. Cheapest Buckle on the market is like $6 or $7 shipped. Makes a lot of sense. Without Buckle, your opponent always has the option to just not block with their equipment and not let it die. Buckle kind of puts an end to that. You have so many ways to distribute -1 counters to your opponent, and Buckle kind of just seals the deal on guaranteeing destruction on an armor and being able to use your hero power. Buckle seems kind of like the first go-to card you think of when you read Yarl's hero power. For that reason, it's going up quite a bit. Cheapest copy on the market, again, is like $6. Cheapest rainbow foil on the market, wow, $16. That's crazy. Look at that graph. It just shoots straight up. It was like $1 yesterday. Exposed to the Elements, again, seems like a natural inclusion. This one seems so natural, I bet you they just include it in the Yarl Armory deck. That would make a lot of sense to me. But yeah, this card actually kind of also makes me think that Energy Potion is going to come back. Energy Potion was always so good against this because you just always had that floating 2 right there. You could never get exposed if you had an E-Pod out. So yeah, decks that are going to be very afraid of Yarl or very afraid of exposed to elements in particular probably will start side decking an E-Pod or 2 for this matchup, assuming Yarl becomes a popular deck. TikTok Clock, cheapest TikTok Clock on the market is $7 shipped. Yeah, the cat is totally out of the bag on this. This is like the way to beat the Dash.io mirror. Rainbow foils are like $13 now. Yeah, Bright Lights Majestic. Yeah, not a lot to say about that. You actually kind of need this card. Not a lot you could do about that. I guess you could wait till after Worlds before you pick it up. But yeah, then really, what's the point of that? Yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. Good long-term fans of the channel are eating good, though. We talked about this card a couple weeks ago when it was like $1. Next card I want to talk about is Mangle. Mangle is obviously getting reprinted in the Yarl deck. They wouldn't print a specialization card in the Yarl deck that searches your deck for a Mangle and not include the Mangle, right? They want these decks to be intuitive and streamlined. They didn't include Blood Rush Bellow and KO because they didn't want any misses. That's how streamlined they wanted the deck to be. There's no way they would print a card that says search mangle and not include a mangle. So yeah, this is like grossly overpriced. I think the card should be back to $1. Anyway, moving on. Channel Lake Frigid, cheapest Channel Lake Frigid on the market, is back up to $20. All is right in the world of Fab again. This is what I remember this card being at for like years. So to see it back at this price point kind of brings some kind of balance to my head when it comes to this market. Cheapest Rainbow Foil on the market is $25. Hypothermia, cheapest Hypothermia on the market is like $5. I actually don't think that this card is that good. It itself doesn't have Go Again, so you're spending your turn just activating Hypothermia. And, while Hypothermia is very good against something like Aurora, your deck probably already just runs Aurora over, and I don't think you're, like, pressed for blue ice cards in the deck. I think you have plenty of better blue ice cards that you could be playing instead of Hypothermia. And, yeah, it blocks too, so... I don't think it's even going to be particularly good, but if you do, $5 isn't the worst price tag in the world. When this card was actually good, it was more than $5, so not the worst pickup. Take the Tempo, cheapest copy on the market is like $3 shipped now, but you could find some play sets here for probably a little bit cheaper if you dig enough. Yeah, look at this, $2 you get a play set, $2 each you get a play set. Kind of dig for someone who has like a higher shipping cost, but cheaper price per card, and then buy a play set and you kind of average it down a little bit to $2 a piece. Anyway, Take the Tempo is probably just like the best card in Ira, I imagine, being able to Kadachi Take the Tempo. Not only presents 8 damage, but it also threatens a Mask of Momentum trigger, which Ira is definitely, like, certainly going to be running. She's probably like the best Mask of Momentum hero. And then turns Take the Tempo into a must block, right? Because not only are you going to get a draw, but you're also going to banish a card and play it next turn, threatening like a 6-card hand, right? You draw Arsenal and you have this banish card you could play next turn. Yeah, Take the Tempo, insane card in Ira. A lot of people are forgetting about Ira right now. Maybe it's just because of all of the hype that's going on with Dash.io and Yarl and Rosetta still hype hitting the market. People are caught up with ProQuest season. But yeah, Ira is just around the corner, and yeah, she's definitely going to be playing 3 Take the Tempo. So if you're interested in the hero, highly recommend picking it up. Barkskin of the Millennium Tree. Again, a Yarl card. He could be playing this. Only $32 for the Rainbow Foil. I actually think it's a great pickup, especially because it's playable in 3 heroes now, right? You could play it in, Verdance, Florian, and Yarl. And it's like just carrying Husk, right? It's such a good card. The extended art has gone up quite a bit. Cheapest copy on the market is $133. Before Yarl, it was like $85. So it's climbed up quite a bit. I think a cute interaction with that is Nerves of Steel. Probably you don't know what Nerves of Steel does. Maybe you do, but for those who don't, when Nerves of Steel is a blue Guardian Aura that costs 3. When it enters the arena, remove a -1 defense counter from a chest equipment you control. Seems very good on a card that gives you something every time you block with it, right? Removing a counter on Barkskin of the Millennium Tree is worth a lot more value than it would be to remove a counter from Tectonic Plating, right? Not only that, but it also, Battle Worn and Temper equipment you control doesn't trigger if it defends an attack with 2 or less power. When your hero is dealt damage, destroy Nerves of Steel. This is very good when you think about it, because if your opponent is going wide, then your equipment's just going to block them out, right? And they can't deal damage to you. And if your opponent's going tall, well, guess what? You just took a -1 counter off of Barkskin of the Millennium Tree. And Embodiment of Earth is like just such a good natural counter to tall strategies, right? So being able to play Barkskin, Nerves of Steel, not sure it'll replace Tunic, but yeah, it kind of counters all strategies, like both go wide and go tall. I think it's actually kind of interesting tech there. Aether Ironweave, cheapest cold foil on the market, is $30 now. This card's gone up quite a bit, obviously played in the Aurora combo. Not much to say about it. I just seen some movement, thought it was worth mentioning. Flamescale Furnace holding strong at $60. I kind of feel bad for everyone who spec'd heavy into the Dromai cards, expecting a new Dromai to get announced. And then, it was just Yarl the whole time. We got kind of baited. We got kind of baited and trolled by LSS. I don't know if we could trust those little subliminal messages anymore. But yeah, Flamescale holding strong at $60. Let's look at the sales data. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, Cold Full sold for 100. Cold Full sold for 100 yesterday. That's crazy. Yeah, Flame Scale still a very good card. Of course, it'll be good one day. I think it's gonna come down quite a bit before the new, like before we go back to Volcor. I think don't buy it at this price tag. I would definitely wait if you don't have one. Polar Blast, next card I want to talk about. Cheapest copy on the market is like $4 shipped. This is the extended art Polar Blast, and I know what you're gonna say. Like, it blocks for 2. Weren't you just kind of talking trash about hypothermia? Doesn't it have all the same problems? No, it doesn't. Polar Blast not only gives Dominate, which would be good to give your Mangle Dominate or something like that, right? And it's not just Guardian cards. It gives anything Dominate, right? So you could give like CNC Dominate, right? And it fits a perfect curve too, right? You pitch a blue, play Polar Blast, play CNC. And ice cards with Go Again are going to be particularly good in Yarl. Because it gives that frostbite, right? So you could, pitch a blue Polar Blast into Frostfang and give your opponent 2 frostbites. Yeah, Go Again ice cards seem very good in him because that's the only way you could ever give multiple frostbites, right? Outside of like Blizzard, I guess. But yeah, Polar Blast EA, it's only a couple bucks. I think it's highly worth it. They disappear quite quickly if you scroll down. Not many playsets left. Plasma Mainline, cheapest copy on the market, is like $1, $2 shipped. Very good card. It's actually the only way -IO really could beat Fatigue. It's like this and Teklo Pounder, preferably this and Teklo Pounder, like in conjunction with each other. But yeah, it's a very good card. Every -IO is going to be playing at least one copy of it. So it's almost worth it if you're going to be playing -IO to just get the Cold Foil. Cheapest Cold Foil on the market is like $8. I think it's a very good card. I think everyone's going to be playing it. Diadetic Carapace, cheapest rainbow foil Diadetic Carapace on the market is up to $80. This is getting crazy. This is getting insane. But yeah, Aurora is like by far and away the most popular deck. Everywhere that everyone I talk to, they all just say like, yeah, my locals is all Aurora. That's what everyone says, it feels like. And my experience is the same. My locals is all Aurora. I traveled to Utah for ProQuest this weekend, and it was majority Aurora as well. So yeah, people are just very in love with that hero, and the price of Diadetic Carapace is reflecting that. Rampart of the Ram's Head, cheapest copy on the market is like $50. I hate to be the one to say this, but it's definitely possible that Yarl is just a CYB deck. And if he is a Count Your Blessings deck, then pitching a blue, activating Count Your Blessings, and defending with Rampart of the Ram's Head makes that whole CYB math equation way better for you. Because when people try and like downplay Count Your Blessings, they'll say like, well, the first one's a 2-card 3 and the second one's a 2-card 4 and whatnot. Rampart of the Ram's Head just like puts the math one more point in your favor for all 9 of the Count Your Blessings, kind of giving that engine 9 more points of value. It's totally possible that he becomes a CYB deck. Maybe he plays things like Turn Timbers and Peace of Mind to just be able to consistently every turn Ram's Head and play a 2-cost like D-React or a 2-cost spell. Either way, I think it's worth having it if you're interested in that play style. Cheapest copy on the market, like I said, like $50. People are probably sleeping on this, assuming he's not going to play it, but it's definitely possible he will. Frostbite, he's definitely playing this one. Cheapest copy on the market is $114 for the Cold Full of Frostbite. I think it's a pretty cool card. But yeah, that card's going crazy. I thought it's worth mentioning. I think it's a little bit too expensive. I would wait for it to cool off a bit. No pun intended, but yeah, I think it's a little bit too expensive. Cheapest, wait, no, not the cheapest Monarch box. That's not why I have this tab pulled up. I have the tab pulled up because LSS said that the next return to Monarch, the next Light and Dark set, is not coming out until 2026. I know a lot of people were specking on this card and expecting it to be dropping at the beginning of next year. They thought like the next set we were going back to Monarch. Turns out it wasn't. Not only was it not the next set, it was not even like in the next year of sets. So do you think that these people are going to have the patience to hold on to all of these Monarch cards for the next year in anticipation for the return? I don't think so. I think pretty much everything in Monarch that isn't competitively viable at this moment is going to go down, right? So like even something like Vestige of Soul, not a particularly good card. The old or the not Oldham Bolton stuff, I think it's all going to come down as we get closer and closer into next year, and people start getting hype about other sets and stuff. They're going to start selling parts of their collection to raise money for other parts of the collection that they want to acquire. And I think that they are going to realize, like, oh yeah, well, this isn't going to be good for another year, I'll just get rid of it. I think it's all going to go down. Deadwood Dirge, cheapest Deadwood Dirge, the extended art Deadwood Dirge is $55. This is totally crazy. If you've gotten some and you have no interest in playing this card, you definitely have some money there. You can make your entry back. I don't think you could sell it for $55, but maybe it's worth listing it for like 30 or something like that. Try and get a quick sale. Try and get your entry cost from ProQuest back. Earth and Form, here's another one. This is the Skirmish EA Earth and Form, the red one. Cheapest copy on the market is like $40 right now. And this actually wasn't even like Yarl hype. This card was just $40 before Yarl got announced. I don't know if people have realized yet that you could play this in Yarl, because maybe when they do, this card goes even higher, just like every other playable Yarl card. But yeah, Earth and Form, very good. Definitely a lot better than the Lightning one if you only got one or the other. I feel bad for the people who got the Lightning over the Earth, because this one's just so much better. Imposing Visage, you could use it to pull out the, where is it? Nerves of Steel. I'm not sure that that's a meme or if that's a real combo. Either way, Imposing Visage is only $1, and it's an Everfest Majestic. We know what happens with Everfest Majestics when they become good. They absolutely skyrocket. I know it sounds like a meme, but for $3, I think it's worth having a play set and just figuring out whether or not it's a meme. You don't want to be that guy who doesn't have it. Soup Up, the extended art Armory promo Soup Up, is only $1, $2 shipped. And there's very, very few play sets of this card on TCG Player. Every -IO plays 3 of this. And as people, like, once they build their deck, they're going to start wanting to foil out their deck. And they're going to look at Soup Up because it's a cool looking foil. It's extended art. And then they're going to buy them on TCG Player. There's going to be none left soon. So I highly recommend picking it up. If you're going to pick it or anything else we talked about in this Market Watch Up, I highly recommend doing it using the TCG Player link in the affiliate. Using my TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. It costs you absolutely nothing, and a small portion of it goes to help the channel. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, rate, subscribe, and help the algorithm help me out just a little bit. Later, gamers.